There we go. Huh. Interesting. Interesting with that and what I had to do to get on live on Facebook. So something's going on. A lot of craziness is happening right now. And I know astrologically, but it's being reflective in things that are transpiring and unfolding at this time. And it's frustrating. I know the energy is very frustrating. It's very slow. I mean, Venus is very slow. So things to do with money, relationships, if you're looking for an answer on something, if you're looking for something to happen, it's slow in coming. And we're in the last day before Mercury heads off into Pisces. And it doesn't want to go there because it's in detriment. It's like trying to get communications, right? You're trying to get communication, but you can't get the communication because you're underwater, so you can't hear. So like when you're underwater and it's like that's kind of how it is. And things can go by or things can happen and you won't actually see it, or you won't actually um you'll kind of see it, but it's kind of like in the distance and it's kind of blurrish kind of thing. So we got a lot of planets in detriment, a lot of planets that would rather be somewhere else. And the moon is going up to the south node right now in Virgo. So this moon happened and push, and it just flew on, right? It's moving on, it's moving forward. And as we're ending this, as this full moon ended, it really is, um, I'm going to say, causing some craziness to happen. And there's a lot of chaos and unexpectedness that's going on right now, even in the world. And I find it interesting because it is all of this change. It is all of this um, energy, these frequencies that are coming in. And we're coming to the end of a lot, especially when it comes to the astrological calendar. I know we go by the Gregorian calendar, but in the astrological calendar, a lot of planets are coming to the end. So we have, and the end is Pisces, right? So when things come to the very end, so we have Neptune going to be coming to the end, moving into Aquarius. We're going to have Saturn coming to the end of Pisces and going into Aries. I said Aquarius. Sorry, Aries. So things are ending. Ways of doing things are ending. We're full on into this age of Aquarius. And we can go back in history and things that have happened when we had this Piscean, sorry about this um energy of Pluto in Aquarius. We're ending of a lot of things. Ending of the English in the United States. We also had in this time, and even going back further, is King Henry VIII and the ending of the Catholic Church in England, and what they had to do to end it, right? And how they had to bring forth the lawyers, and they had to bring forth all of a team to do investigations on why that structure no longer worked there. And it's very interesting. Now we're finding it now today, especially in the States, because they're the rulers of the world. I hate to tell people that, but they are the big guns, right? So we're seeing how right now, where Trump couldn't do it in Pluto and Capricorn, right? That structure wanted to hang on. It wanted to keep things going. As it goes into Aquarius, it's a new time, new energy, new flow. So we have this new energy, this new flow that's coming in. And now we have Elon Musk, going through the books. his team of young men going through the books. Very similar to what, in the time of King Henry VIII, with Cornwall, having his young men going through the books, having to go through, the monasteries and everything that was going on in the monasteries. And what were you doing with the money? Where was the money? Because everything was done in the monasteries, right? Now we're seeing the very similar things that are happening in the States. Of course, there's a percentage of people that don't want it because they want to hang on to the old way of doing things. So there's this disruption, chaos, you can call it, happening. Chaos. And the chaos even within our own lives. That's why when we look at, where the energies they're not moving fast, they're moving very slow. Universally, the universe works at a different timeline than we do, right? We want things to be like the movies. We want it to be snap on. We want it to be, yeah, this is the way it's going to be, right? And the universe is like, oh no, we're doing our thing. And don't worry, because our mortal bodies want it done right now. So we can't be freaking out. We got to take this time. We got to take this introspection and look inwards. We also have to be able to know that, that we, no. Sorry, family in behind me. This is where if you're trying to make things work and you're wanting it to be this way, we're coming to the ending of things. We're coming to the new beginning of things. We're coming into a new era and a new reset. And that's where the frustrations come in, because we want to hang on, right? We want to hang on. We want it to unfold this way because that's the way it's always unfolded. And that's why we're seeing things crumble. That's why we're seeing chaos within governments. We're seeing chaos within people's lives and corporations. People are like doing bizarre, crazy things. Like, I mean, in Munich right now, they just had a guy, a suicide bomber. And this is where it's like, no, I'm going to make my point. I'm going to make this happen. It's got to stay this way. And in this, we are going to be seeing chaos, extreme chaos. And this is where I come back in and I start saying, what are you doing for you? What are you doing for your protection? What are you doing for your sovereignty? How are you taking care of oneself? Which is very important. And this is where, if you are stuck with a way that it has to be this way, it has to, you have to follow this rule, and you're stuck in that, and it's just not working. It's just like, coming back. It's just like, okay, you got to let it go. You got to take that step back. You got to be the hangman. The hangman card in the tarot is a bastard. Just saying. It is one of those cards that, when somebody says, oh, you got to take a step back, right? Take a step back. And you're like, I don't want to take a step back. I don't want to do that. And it's frustrating because you don't want to do that. You don't want to take the step back. You want to be in there. You want to control it. Jupiter is just sitting at this one point. He's supposed to be going forward, hasn't moved, and he's in Gemini. So you got to take, the information that you get, the bit by bit that you get. Venus is slowed right down and she's in Aries. She's like, I hate Aries. Let me get back in Pisces where I can float around and be the pretty princess and get what it is that I want. And the hangman comes in and says, you got to get a new perspective on things. You got to get a new perspective on the way the world's going to be, how we are going to be dealing with things, how there's going to be less of something and not more. This is where you start looking at, okay, where are my checks and balances? And coming into a mindset, not a lack mindset. This is not about a lack mindset, but coming into a mindset of, oh, well, if I don't have this, I can still be grateful for all that I do have. Look at all the plenty I do have. I could still be creative. I could still be, that person who can do things and create things, but I'm going to do it in a different way. I'm going to create in a new way. I'm going to understand in a new way, and I'm not going to dismiss oneself and be, because there's a deep solution of why it's not working. There's a deeper solution of why things are chaotic, right? And uncovering that. And it's like, I don't want you to uncover that sore. I don't want to get to the problem of that sore. Well, why? You know, it's like, well, because I enjoy going to the doctor every day and I love talking to the nurses and there's new people in the patient's office. So you've grown into this routine instead of getting healthy. I'm just using this as an example. It's easier to be in that routine than say, hey, you know what? Now it's time to get healthy. Now it's time to get off the medication. Now it's time to take that responsibility for oneself and start doing the things that you need to do in order for you to become that abundant. So I'm taking something away that you had as a crutch. Or we could do another analogy. It's like, remember the old TVs with the big back on it? Did any of you go up there and hit the side of the TV to get it working? How many times? Oh, there you go. It's working. It's like you shook everything up inside and then it started to work, right? Now you're going up. It's like, why isn't it not working? Well, new TVs come out, new ideas come out, better ways of doing things have come out. But you're still wanting to hit the side of the TV. You're still wanting to get things done in a certain way because that's the way we've always done it. This is the way that we do things. It's like maybe a better way of exercising is coming in. It's like even like people like I have to get so many steps in. Those steps actually originate, I think it was in World War II or something, to get either to get people motivated. It was a motivational thing, right? It wasn't a scientific theory of having to get 50,000 steps in a day. It was more of a motivational thing that they started, and it just went. It's just like eating carrots. Why? Because they had a lot of carrots. It's the only vegetable that would last long, right? So you eat carrots, your eyes. Well, there's no scientific thing about eating carrots, right? Or here's another one: eat the crust on your bread, and your hair will go curly if you want curly hair.
Yeah, you see that?
Oh, well, hold on.
I'm going down there.
Yes.
You know that road where we turn just on the left there?
Yeah.
One set of fucking police.
Oh.
And then here's a guy. I don't know. He's how did this call them? Skinhead.
Mm-hmm.
He's sitting in a trailer with handcuffs.
Steve had excitement
Being
going to the
cold.
Sev.
Holy shit. So
Apple
early in the
monitoring.
morning, man, what he did?
Yeah. Oh, it could have been a drug bust.
Well,
If
so
it's
much of them.
yeah, a drug bust. A drug bust around the corner. Wow.
They don't even have a police car. I thought it was just regular thing. And then when I see the jacket, I said, holy shit.
No. So it must be something, some kind of bust is happening. But yeah, plus Apple monitoring every move. So many of this, right? Nazi stuff. It's it's Nazi stuff, Steve. It's a skinhead. No, somebody said here it's a Nazi stuff. Hi there. Are you doing a general readings? No, we're talking about the astrology right now. So this is, and I will be doing, little readings. Oh my God, I shouldn't have said that. I'm live. I might be, so gonna get ousted now. But this is where it's like, with Jupiter, this is, a rustic, having to do something like a very sort of rustic understanding and trying to put it all together. It's we're seeing things like this is what I everybody's oh gosh, yes, everybody's pumping up Danielle Smith, which yeah, she's doing but she's a politician. She's the one to get the NDP into, okay, this is a little bit of political thing. To get the NDP into Alberta for that short period of time, she walked across and joined another party. So the full Conservative Party would not be able to get in, right? And so that they could get the NDP to take the fall for everything that was going on. Then they could come in and scoop it all up. Right. So understand there's always a political ploy with things, and whatever that political ploy is. It's same with how, we're going to do King Henry VIII when he was going through the referendum of dismantling the Catholic Church in there, the details that Cornwall and his men went through to get, very similar to what we're going to say Elon Musk is doing in the United States. The details he's getting and the information that is coming out, and on everything, information on everything, all this information is coming out, and people are like, oh my God, I didn't know that, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, you know. I want Christine from Soul to Soul Connection on TikTok's YouTube. You could be our next prime minister. Yeah. It's this is the kind of craziness. I don't know if I'd want her as the next prime minister. That's the thing. There's just something there. I don't know what it is. I think she's a great person. She's doing a lot of work. She's really into things. But there's a lot happening there that we are not privy to, right? So we're watching dismantling, and I think there's a dismantling in Canada has to happen too, but that's a whole nother kettle of fish, right? But we're seeing this energy of change coming in, this information coming in, this nuances of coming in, and that's that Pluto in Aquarius. And when Saturn and Jupiter met at the 0 degrees Aquarius, that was the beginning of an evolutionary change. We were moving out of the earth energy into the air energy. Air energy is the swords. It's the intellect. It's the one that's going to come in. It's the one that's going to say, this is done. We're done. When the sword is in the ground, when it's down, it's done. When it's laid out flat, we're finished. We're at peace. So we're at this time of saying, all right, we're receiving, the sword is up. We're receiving the information. We're receiving all of this information. How are we dealing with all of this information? And more is to come. All the time when any time like a major planet, outer planet like Pluto go into a sign, the first and the end causes a lot of chaos because we get used to it after a while. So you got to think the beginning of Pluto in Capricorn, 2008, all the chaos and everything that happened with the system to to the very ending. And then as it goes finally into Aquarius, we're also ending this, Pisces is the end of winter with Aries bringing in the new year, so the spring. So this is a reflective of the spring nature of this time when long dormant seeds, they awaken to the warmth. We're also seeing Pisces moons north node. Thank you. We also have Saturn and Neptune are moving. They're closing off big cycles. These are big cycles ending. We have an 18.6-year cycle with Saturn ending at the end of Pisces, which is closing a 28-year-old identity, right? So the last 28 years, it's like your Saturn return, a closing of a cycle. What is that closing of a cycle? What is that ending in your life? And to bring in the new beginning. Right. So we have to shed it. And we have Neptune is closing a 165-year-old cycle within the collective of the unconscious. It's purging the old paradigm, purging that of what we believed in. And it's going to come back. I mean, because it's going to retrograde back. Saturn's going to retrograde back because we're going to pick up some pieces maybe, hopefully, and look at them again. And then finally, in March next year, the two will conjunct, which is going to be like, what the fuck? So this is bringing in where we're going to see dismantling of the old paradigm. dismantling of the old spiritual realm. This is where people, in their belief systems of how they believed, how they, what they thought was truth was no longer truth, right? Having the Catholic Church as the be all end all in England, like everything had to go through Rome. It was like 450 years or 430 years. There was only an Italian pope until Pope John Paul II was the first one, and he was from Poland. And then they have a German one. Now they have a South American one. Do you think the next pope is going to be not Italian? Especially since the last pope brought in a a goddess, an idol from South America, and brought it into the Vatican. Nobody said anything. That didn't, yeah. The goddess of fertility or something like that was supposed to be similar representation of the Virgin Mary. And the one before that was a Nazi. Like, oh, well, we got to get rid of him really fast. So they had two popes for a while. But these are the evolutionary changes. This is showing you that change is happening. The disruptions are happening. Things are being called out within the Muslim community. I shouldn't even say that word. In that other community, is being called out, where they're finding that, what just happened in Australia, finding that these doctors and nurses are going after another ethnic because of who they are, because of their last name or their so-called belief system, and they were killing them. So these things are like, whoa, more is coming out. It's like all of this is coming out. These truths are coming out. And this is getting people to really look at, okay, and changing how we work, how we connect, how things are creating. And it's air sign. So air sign, if anybody out there is an Aquarius, a Libra, or a Gemini, it's just like how your mind works, just the way that you handle things, the way that you go at things. Libras are always, wanting to know, what about this? What about that? How come? How come? Right? So my husband's going to say something. He's looking at something, and
No, I don't know if that's Owen fan.
I don't know. Is Owen
But
coming?
the guy looks like he have glasses, so that may be not Owen.
A man was denied care from a doctor because of his color in this. Yes. So things like that, all of that, right? It's coming out. All of this information is coming out. And the more it comes out, people are like totally appalled. It's like Tulsi Gabbard, they kept on bringing up her being raped at 16. I think around there. I'm not sure exactly when, but they kept bringing it up, or bringing up these things of immorality with her, right? And it's like, whoa, that's interesting. Why are you bringing that up? What does that have to do with her? It's all of these little craziness, and this is all within the astrology that's unfolding. So we're in this huge time of great transformation and change. We're in a time of information coming out, and some of the information we are not going to be understanding, and it's going to come out even more. Like there's going to be even more coming out, and it's going to be overwhelming, and some of it's going to be very difficult to deal with. So this is where we have to come back to our connection with spirit, our connection with the divine, and coming into a place where we feel the peace and the tranquility. Even when I was doing some studying on some of the pagan groups, and I'm just like, holy shit, okay, well, I don't believe in that. Like in the temple of Aphrodite, the things that they used to do for Aphrodite, giant orgies, giant, things like that. And then they would have these people, giving these great gifts. And then on the other side was a restaurant. All of these things is just like, okay, all right, that's, I understand the thing about love and wanting love, but I'm not getting myself into some other crazy shit, right? But this is like, okay, change is coming in. What is that change coming in? What is that change coming in? I think it's coming into the age of common sense, an age of divine will, an age of surrender of love, a time of going to a higher consciousness. And the higher consciousness is not this world. This world is the illusion. This world is the setup. This world is a place of learning and coming into the transformations that we all need to do on whatever earth walk that we signed up to do. And we're trying to pull it all together. So it's letting go. It's letting go of it. It's letting go of the craziness with the politics. It's letting go of the craziness, what's happening within the different, religious groups and ethnic groups and stuff. It's letting that go. Knowing that it all has to happen. It all has to be chaotic in order to bring the change. So we don't need to try and figure it out. And we don't definitely not to lose hope, right? It's not lost. It's just things are evolving extremely slowly. And we just have to come into a higher love, a higher place. And in doing that, that's going to bring us to a place where we're able to look at the inventory, right? We're at the end of the year. We're at, this is a company would, it's closing down the week for, to do inventory. So it's time for us to look at that inventory. It's time for us to look at, okay, what did work for us? Great time to do a vision board, to what are we wanting to create for the next year, right? This is a deep internal examination and sometimes led accountability issues if there was too much or too little stock. And did someone make a mistake? What do you keep repeating that you shouldn't be repeating? Reporting too many sales or too few, lie, cheat, steal. Are we breaking something? Write down the wrong number, order, or the wrong part. So sometimes taking inventory can lead to deep self-examinations where we find ourselves lacking, lost, missing parts of ourselves and looking back. So, which can cause anxiety and overwhelmness instead of coming into a place of acceptance and saying, okay, I know I shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I couldn't. I can't go back. I can only go forward. So I got to take the responsibility of it so I can move forward. This is a Piscean self-examination, assisted with Mars in retrograde, home, domestic, emotional life, right? So we're seeing all of this examination. We're seeing, you can put yourself back as a hangman and take a look and seeing that right now, the United States, which is a Cancer sign, Elon Musk is a double Cancer. Trump has a lot of Cancer, even though he is a Gemini, has a lot of Cancer energy in his chart. So now we're looking at the home, domestic, and emotional life. We're looking at it all. And next month, we're going to have Venus and Mercury retrograding in Pisces until April. This is a great time of learning, of growing and changing, rather than remaining distracted by the pull of external society and its demands. It's time to take some time out in limbo land. It's time, because we are going to be squaring everything away now and for a better future. But we have to go through the nutty stuff. We have to go through all the craziness in order for us to get to this new way and this new world. And we got Pluto in Aquarius for the next 19 years. Haven't even talked about Uranus going into Gemini. That's a whole nother kettle of fish as well. That's that 84-year cycle of Uranus, right? Moving into Gemini. And the history with all of that. Every time it goes in. And the changes that is brought about. So embrace it, baby. That's why, I said to somebody that you know, do I really care what's going on with the government right now? Really, no, I don't. Um, I understand what's going on. I know it's vital and it's change, but deep down inside, it's to understand. But what's important is what you need to do to take care of oneself. Like if you got my peek into 2025, one of the biggest, one of the things I said, if you're able to get yourself a backup generator for your house, get something connected to your electrical if you can. Get solar panels, honestly. Get these backups. These are going to be important as we go forward. Other things, that are going to be happening that could really change things about. There we go. Start off with this one. Yeah. We're hanging so tightly onto things. We're hanging tight, right? Can you see that? We're hanging on tight to everything. Things coming in. There is prosperity and abundance that's around us. We can choose, but that 4 of Pentacles is like, I don't want to go forward. I don't want to do this. Right? I just want to sit here. It's almost like being frozen. Right? And being frozen so I don't have to move. But there's something spectacular that's growing. There's something that's really spectacular that's growing. And it's embracing that beauty that you have, embracing the love that you have, embracing the family and all of that's going on. So you can take it's you've gotten the information. It's not necessarily to sit and hide away. That's the whole thing. It's not about sitting and hiding away from things. It's about exploring. It's about going into something new. And we got it. We have to understand it. And then we got to move forward with it and not hide away. Hiding's easy. Hiding's very easy. And it's easy to hide away and say, and make up whatever excuses. It's harder to get out there and continue on doing what you need to be doing. And following the truth of your heart and following that and trusting in the divine will. Right? So there you go. You all have a fabulous day, and may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all you say and all you be and all you do. Have a blessed one, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. All right? Bye-bye, everyone. See ya.